Coalition of civil society groups on transparency in governance and empowerment for unemployed youth initiative call on the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) for thorough investigation and disciplinary action against unsuspected lawyers involved in an alleged sponsored campaign of calumny and blackmail against engineer Mele Kyari, former Group Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL). Comrade Solomon Adodo, the spokesperson of the coalition, said the protest is sponsored and heavily financed campaign of calumny by persons who are disgruntled or out for a blackmail. As a note that the group appears to have been created solely to wage a campaign of calumny against Mele Kyari.
Furthermore, we listed 4 major issues we are worried about: the emergence and operation of such bizarre lawyer groups that have no clear antecedents. 1, the group appears to have been created solely to wage a campaign of calumny against engineer Mele Kyari. Fact checks show that there is a spindly organization with no roots, no past, no antecedents. Number 2, it has an amorphous leadership and operation in which different persons are reported in the media to be their leaders and spokespersons at different times and different locations and for different purposes. They also carefully create an ambiguity by saying the so-called guardians of democracy and the rule of law is a group of lawyers and coalition of civil society groups, thereby giving out the impression that all those involved in their activities are lawyers, while also building an alibi that some are just members of the civil society organization, whereas the impression they want to create is that a large mass of lawyers have convened. That is a falsehood which has been purely and totally debunked. Number 3, in some of the protests, they called for the trial of Mele Kyari before turning around to say that he should be investigated. That is like putting the cart before the horse. We are therefore worried that a group of lawyers, in quote, could call for the trial of a person who is yet to be investigated, contrary to the rules of the legal profession. Finally, on April 22nd, 2025, one Kabiru Matazu led a group that was hitherto not in existence, christened as Concerned Citizens Against Corruption, to the office of the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to demand the investigation into the activities and administration of Engineer Mele Kyari at the NNPCL. This protest was the precursor to many other protests staged by persons claiming to be lawyers. But strangely, after some civil society groups questioned the tactics employed by these so-called Concerned Citizens Against Corruption and challenged it as being a hatchet job, the convener, Comrade Kabiru Matazu, made a volte-face. He retracted his statement very clearly and even before the media, disowned the petition they had hitherto submitted, and apologized to Malam Mele Kyari, the discerning public, and indeed the federal government of Nigeria, whose time and taxpayers' money was wasted in that wild goose chase.